Hello. Hello, folks. Jumping right into the action today. He grabbed... or he holstered his suppressed pistol. Got down on one knee, grabbed his assault rifle, and let the enemy ahead have it. Let's see, 5mm. 5 meters, I mean. The pair went down with bullets to their guts. That's across their chests. Some other fellow ran out from the corner, the nearby corner of the building. From there up, he barely had time to raise his rifle to his hip before a volley from D popped him, nailed him about the shoulders and chest. He silently dropped. He dropped his rifle and silently collapsed to the stony floor of the courtyard. Quite a thing to start right with the action. I guess that's my fault. Well, of course it's my fault. I'm writing, but, you know, usually I like to have a little build-up first, you know? Like, a little statement here and there, maybe just one paragraph to myself. He came under fire from some jade up in one of the second floor windows. He rolled to the right, aimed, put 2 bursts in the guy's head at his direction, both of which apparently hit him, or he went flying back from the window. When I say flying back, I don't mean like backflip, but, you know. If it helps for the reader to picture everyone doing backflips and all kinds of somersaults when they get shot, then go ahead. This is a fantasy world, not the real world. Things can be a little different, you know. In a fantasy world, you shoot somebody, they can go flying back 20 feet. In real life, I think they just fall over. I'm pretty sure. At least that's what it looked like in the videos that I've seen of people actually being shot. You probably have to look at such things, folks, if you want to be a writer, you know. You gotta know, you gotta look up gruesome stuff and know what to do, what it looks like, you know. He reloaded and ran for the nearest cover. One of the stony walls of the building he intended on storming. If they could take it over, or was another story. If they could manage to seize it, that was another story. If they could manage to seize it. Now I need a comma there. I've had terrible feelings of self-doubt all morning, folks. Terrible, terrible. Sometimes you feel that, you know, it's very standard for people on a creative career path. You know, am I doing this right? Is my prose bad? Is my story ideas bad? Is this all crap that no one will care about? No. If you don't have those feelings from time to time, it's probably a very bad thing, because then you'll be just like, you're totally delusional. You think you're Picasso or Rembrandt. Let's see. That was another story. Sounds like from a nearby window, he could hear lots of jade in there. Running around, storming around. The window near Jade. Was smashed open by somebody from the inside with such vigor that most of the rifle almost went out the window. Fellow could have lost his gun in the middle of a shootout. Ow. Never a good thing. Goop thing. Not a moment's rest, eh? he muttered to himself. So, he didn't expect had to get any breather once the shooting started. Of course, he did need a moment or two to get to cover and get situated and get a fix on the situation. Gunfires erupted from that nearby window. An impressive volley that some novice might have. Novice, am I using that right? Trainee, greenhorn. Greenhorn, that's definitely an American term. I don't believe an Englishman came up with that. I'm not sure where it came from, though. Maybe there's some stupid thing from history where horns were... Where they had rodeos and a bull that was light, that was tame, had green painted horns or something, I don't know. An impressive volley that some might have mistaken for MG fire. Wasn't an MG, it was still dangerous. He assumed nobody charging out, nobody had gotten in, none of his friends had gotten in the building yet, and he doubted Richington or Telga Grabby were situated in that room, tied up in a chair. Most likely, we're in some basement dungeon. I want to sound Seinfeld for a second. What's the deal with the secret police and dungeon in the basement? Why not have a dungeon upstairs where you can have some nice windows and get some sunlight, you know? D readied 2 grenades, chucked them through the window. We ducked back. And though the Jade caught sight of the grenades and retreated, judging from the agonized screams accompanying the explosion. I think in real life they don't have time to scream. We kind of, I think we're conditioned to think if someone gets blown up, they should scream from movies. I don't know. Like, if we see someone blow up, they should scream. I don't know. I've actually seen it subverted in some movies and old TV shows. Like a guy, he throws himself on the grade, blows him up. But yeah, I'm pretty sure jumping on a grenade is one of those things that would kill most people. Instantaneously. So just a little thing there, I guess, folks. It's important to know what kills people instantly and what doesn't. A bullet to the head, even that might not kill someone instantly. But, being blown up by a grenade right under your chest, yeah, I probably won't be around too long. He did get a few of them. He then did the bold thing and aimed through the window and fired off his entire rifle mag, which caught and dropped. I gotta check 30 rounds. So far I'm doing a lot. So far all my notes I've written down to correct are for the other story that I worked on this morning. It's kind of funny that I would think of that now. Fixes for that. I guess I write 2 sessions a day with that book, so I guess that's my main book I'm working on. And this is I don't know, not a side project, but definitely the one that's not in my mind as often, because it's not as crazy a story as the other one. The other one's much more complicated, I think. Which caught and dropped a few of the Jade who came running back into the room. One of the 4 fellows who got knocked right off his feet. He ducked back before they could give him any retaliatory fire. And as a additional fuck you, he tossed another grenade in. He didn't toss more than that. Yeah, feeling you need the extra grenades to take the interior. The courtyard. I almost said lobby. Lobby and courtyard, not the same thing. Oh, I wish it was a nice, bright, sunny day outside. Gotta remember that this is day, not night. Because I had to go to 6 a.m. and 6 a.m. usually the sun is up, I think, unless you're in Antarctica. Does Alaska have that weird night-day cycle too? No, I don't think so. Well, it is kind of a strange state. Anything can happen in Alaska. I think you could believe any crazy story coming out. Any crazy story would sound credible if you had the setting as Alaska. Really. Or maybe India. I mean, someplace with a lot of crazy jungles. I mean, you could believe there's some crazy zombies running around a place like the jungles of India. Yeah, I'd like India. I'd like to have some more stories set there. I've only visited a few times in a few stories. Maybe have some crazy zombie-themed story. I have notes for that, but you know. Just a little tiny outline. Nothing big. Sometimes you'll just come up with a little short idea. Enough for a novel, maybe 100 or 200 pages, I don't know. But any more than that, you know, no sequel. Don't ask for a sequel, please. That well has run dry. Zombies in India is not as endless fountain of ideas as, say, the Second American Civil War or World War III or some kind of Lord of the Rings kind of adventure. The courtyard was already mostly taken. Claimed. Indeed, didn't barely notice it. Noticed it happened. But you barely noticed. The armor-clad guerrillas and a few commandos. Chromish. Were they Chromish? Were they all Scottish, like their master? All Scottish? Having an all-Scottish commando team, that's kind of overkill. Like if you nuke a city and then you nuke it 5 more times right afterwards in quick succession, you know? Yeah, you only need 1 Scotsman per commando unit. That's more than enough. You don't want to be too unfair when you're fighting an entire army, you know? A few Chromish commandos. A few Chromish commandos had... Let's see. Armor-clad commandos and armor-suit-clad commandos and guerrillas had stormed out the back of one truck, wielding rifles and SMGs with extended mags. They mercilessly cut down whatever was in front of them, which was a few dozen Jade, who were now lying mostly face down about the courtyard. Yards. Once clean floor, clean ground, clean gray floor. The entrance to the courtyard had been secured quickly. A crowd of Jade infantry tried to storm in from a few sandbag positions. Bag positions. I'm still looking for a word to replace fuck in my fictional universe. That'd be pag. We're totally pagged, boys. Is that too much? Sounds too much like that slurred word? I don't know. I don't think so. You can't worry because you can't worry too much about such things because everyone will get offended by everything, and I know in my heart how I feel. I'm not prejudiced against anyone. If I criticize people, I criticize them as individuals. Let's see. I also try not to put a condemning tone in any of these stories, so it's like kind of like almost a neutral historical kind of way. I mean, if you have like a Hitler kind of guy, I mean, if you the audience knows Hitler's a bad guy, so you don't really have to condemn him each time you would have his don't have to say like Adolf Hitler, evilest of evil, or something like that. Adolf Hitler, the German warlord. I think that's as condemning as I would get, and it's appropriate title. He was kind of like a warlord, I guess. Genghis Khan probably would have been proud of all the massacres and violence his armies caused through Europe, you know. Definitely played by the Reign of Terror playbook. Will probably be an example to future dictators. Try to storm in from if you see about the entrance. Running through the open. They ran through the open. Into rifle and SMG fire. And were swiftly dropped. Another few dozen J just taken out in an instant. Let's see. Did I say SMG? ZP-38. Is that an error? ZP, that's what the Germans would call it, but... Let's see, ZP... math of a raid. None of that softness. Yeah, no softness is necessary. The fighting quickly moved to the building. The fighting in the courtyard. It was not bloodless for the guerrillas. I need to say brave guerrillas. Valiant guerrillas. I don't know. Try to have neutrality. If I ever get an editor, I'll have to tell him, remove anything that's like, unneutral, any unneutral stuff, unless it's from a character's point of view, because, you know, I want to try to have it like a historical text, almost, you know. Historical texts don't go on and on about the crimes of the people, you know, unless that's this topic. Like, I mean, it's not like if you had a story about Winston Churchill, it wouldn't mention all the times he did shifty things or suggested doing shifty things, you know. There's a lot of controversy, I guess, recently about Churchill. I'm not sure why, though. And probably, you know, every historical figure, except modern historical figures, I guess. Our historical figures will be pretty boring to the future generations, and they'll be more boring and more boring as less and less shifty stuff is done in the universe, you know. Several men were killed outright, hit by stray shots from the enemy who managed to get off a few shots before being gunned down. Few shots before being gunned down, killed outright, hit by stray shots from the enemy, managed to get off before being gunned down and fly. And a few men were wounded by shots from the mansion, the secret police HQ, which was the center of resistance pretty quickly, which became the center of resistance. And the center of enemy resistance, but no more. Many shooters were firing out the windows. Of both floors. Is there 3 floors? There's 3 floors. And there were still... With most of the troops concentrated on the ground floor. Many shooters firing from the windows of both floor, but the bulk of them on the ground floor, apparently. Bulk of them apparently on the ground floor. D was soon joined by dozens. I'll have to check if that's consistent. Trucks shooting, top side. This shouldn't be dozens of comrades. With the armored boys mostly crowded the entrance. Let's see, mostly P-38s. Let's see, P-30... Let's see, P-34. Armor suit clad. Most of the armored boys had P-34s suits, which weren't obsolete. They weren't as good as the Jade armor suits, obviously. Okay, on that, folks. Let's sign off here, folks. Have a nice day.